don't forget to check out the clip at the end of the video for more information on the channel. But in case you don't get a chance to, let me know your feelings. Share it on the video. That means liking, disliking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know what you think, and that also helps the channel grow too. Okay, so let's get right to it, shall we? So obviously, as the video says, it's all about cleaning your microfiber cloths. I stand by microfiber cloths wholeheartedly. Honestly, I use it for everything. I've tried all sorts of cloths over the years. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so everything from terry cloths to paper towels, heavy duty paper towels, automotive grade, all sorts of stuff. And a microfiber, I find you get the best life out of them. They do the best pickup. They they absorb a lot. They're pretty easy to clean and maintain as long as you know what you're doing. So you know, I stand by them all the time. I will always endorse those. As long as you get a good quality one. I will tell you that they have some other that are kind of crappy quality. So know what you're buying, feel it out. We can talk about that another time. Right now, just about cleaning them. Alright, so a couple things to point out when you're about to start cleaning. Now, the first thing is know what you're using your microfibers for. So, for example, I use them when I'm cleaning engines, exterior work like waxing, interior work, detailing, things like that. I also use it to help with when I do certain automotive jobs. Let's say something's particularly greasy, I may use a microfiber cloth to help wipe out the grease. Sometimes, not always, depends on what it is and what's going on. First kind of rule is that if I'm doing anything engine or anything like that, those cloths, when I'm done with them, they go in the garbage. I don't wash those. You risk contaminating them, and typically the grease or engine oils or whatever in there clog up the microfibers as it is, and they'll never be back to any type of good quality. You may be able to wash and get a little life out of them, but why bother? Next thing is, and it's not as big a deal, is I typically try and keep exterior stuff and interior stuff separate when I'm washing them. This is just again to prevent some type of contaminations and things like that. So for example, if I use the exterior for waxes, tire dressings, things like that, I'll keep those separate. Wax actually isn't too bad, so if you happen to just be using for waxing and then some interior stuff, if those mix, it's not too bad. But especially things like tire dressings, trim dressings, things like that, you definitely want to not mix those with interior stuff, because if then you know, some of that stuff is really greasy or very oily, and if it doesn't wash properly and you use it on your interior, you'll smear that on. Hopefully you're washing properly, but you know, these are the precautions. That said, when I do the wash here now, most of them have already pre-checked. These are all good to go. So I'll be putting it all as one wash, but normally I would do it separately, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to do it as one wash. So washing is actually a pretty easy process. I say it's a 3-step process essentially: pre-soak, wash, and dry. So we're going to do that right now, the pre-soak stage of it. Just got a regular bucket. This is a bucket I use for whenever I'm doing any of my microfiber. I typically don't use this bucket for anything else because you don't want to cross-contaminate doing things. Let's say if you do use it at home or use it for other stuff, you don't want to cross-contaminate anything like that, especially when you're dealing with car chemicals and things. So this is my bucket exclusively just for microfibers. So we're going to fill this up. We're going to fill it up, you know, pretty high up. Not all the way, about there. You want to give room that when you put all your cloths in, it doesn't overflow or anything like that. So we're just going to do that right now. Oh, before I do, you want to do warm water. Don't want too hot. That could kind of damage the fibers. I don't like too cold. It doesn't seem to loosen up a lot, some of the car grease and stuff like that. So I do just typically lukewarm water. Alright, we're good right there. I'm just gonna let that fill up. Okay, all done. Now, I get asked all the time, you know, if there's products I would talk about or endorse and things like that. And so I'll tell you what I use for this here. I've tried different things over time, but I find the Chemical Guys has a good microfiber wash. It's pretty solid stuff actually. This is one I would recommend overall. If you look at the directions there, for a small load, add 1 ounce, which is approximately 1 to 4 capfuls, to your wash. For full load, add 2 ounces, which is approximately 8 to 10. I also do use this too, like if you see my clothes there, I use that just as I just use a jogging pants and sweater and stuff on the cold weather to work outside. I also use that in there too, and it's very effective when I put in my wash. So you know, I do recommend this. So this is a smaller load I'm doing here. You'll see here's my bag, and that's it. So for a load like this, I'm gonna put 4 capfuls. So let's follow the directions exactly, right? So I'm gonna reach over here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll use this again when I put it in my washing machine as well, which is what you saw earlier in the video that was behind me there. We'll talk about that after. But this is just the pre-soak. So I've put that in there. So now we're going to start loading everything in. So what I typically do is you inspect. I'm not going to go through every single cloth. You'll get the idea after a couple. But I'll go through and I will check and see. Now some of these, for example, this one's been through a couple washes already. I can tell one by the feel of it. It's still got a little bit of life left, but it is kind of coming toward the end of its life cycle. But I look for things like debris and stuff like that. You don't want to be putting these in here and pre-soaking with debris, because it can transfer from one onto another or transfer into your wash. So you want to make sure that you know, you're not any debris or anything. You pick it out if you can, and then you put it in and you make sure you soak, get it in there. You do that here. I'll grab one more. All right, and we'll take a look there. This one's still got more life in it. I think this may be a first time in the wash. If you look over, no debris. If you see, sometimes you get like a little piece of twig or some debris, dirt you picked up while cleaning. You know, if it's hard, like not like grease, like, you know, like this stuff. But you know, if you see any debris or anything like that, make sure you're cleaning that out too. I'll even throw in, here's a microfiber. See, like for example, right here, you know, just those little things there. Try and get them out. All right, I'll throw that in the garbage, and then I'll throw that in too. This is what's used for waxing. And these, when I put it in, squeeze so the solution gets in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill this bucket up. Oh, another thing to point out for you now, you may want to occasionally pre-soak the pre-soak. Okay, and what I mean by that is, as you can see, I've started putting some in there. And if you come across a cloth, now this is kind of a lighter example, but if you see here, this has got a lot of particles in it. This was used just for wiping down on the interior. Let me see if I can get a kind of, there we go. So you can see, not bad, but you can see it's got a little bit of specks and dust. If you don't want to put that in your pre-soak, you can just give a quick rinse. So you put on your water, just rinse it out quickly. Right, helps get out some of the smaller particles you don't want to pick out, and then you can just throw it in. And remember, when you are throwing in, as you throw in, you want to make sure you're pushing in, you're kind of whisking it around, letting the stuff do its job, work it in as you go, right? Alright, so I've got everything soaked in there, and before we get to kind of the little more nitty-gritty of it, I just want to give you examples of some of the things that would not make it into my wash. So here's a few cloths just to show you. These were actually used in some engine work and stuff, and you can see some of the grease. The cloth has become very, very hard, and if you smell it, you can smell kind of the chemical in it. I mean, you'll smell chemicals anyways, you'll smell waxes, you'll smell things, but this one I know is used for engine cleaning. Same with this one here. So as you can see, it's very, very dirty and stuff like that. At this point here, even if you're able to clean it off, one, it won't look presentable. Like you want when you're cleaning, you want it to have at least a decent looking cloth. But two, of course, a lot of it won't come out properly. You'll need degreasers and stuff. And for the price of microfibers versus the effort it will take to clean this, to me, it's simply not worth it. Especially if you bought some in bulk or anything like that. Here is also a couple of applicator pads. Just want to again show you, this was used for some engine work, cleaning around the hood and stuff like that, underneath the hood, and you can see it's picked up a lot of dirt, a lot of grime. This is like in the pre-cleaning before waxing and stuff like that. So something like this I wouldn't even attempt to clean, wouldn't even bother. This here was used for a lot of wax, and you can see it's become very hard. You could clean this off if you use some cleaner and a nylon brush, and you can scrub this and take this out. It's up to you if you want to do that. You'll prolong the life, and you will be able to get that out. But again, for me, especially because I buy these in bulk and I have quite a lot of them, I don't even bother. So something like this that became this hard, this was probably an early one, and I don't know, maybe I didn't wash it. So something like this I wouldn't even bother with. Okay, so now you've got your rags in here. You can see it's all soaking in. So what you do now is we're gonna go a little old school on this, and we're just gonna kind of work everything in as we go. And that's just a matter of grabbing stuff, squeezing and working and spinning it around, grabbing from the bottom. Remember, this is not your washing, you're just pre-soaking. So the point is to get everything soaked. You can see, remember how clear that water was, and you can see what's become there. Everything is getting kind of grimed out. If you feel the need to, as you're working this over, you can definitely, you know, empty this out and put fresh water in and continue to soak out. Get as much as you can. Prevent this from going into your washing machine too. So I'm gonna pour this out just to kind of show you guys here. So you can see what kind of came out of there. Let's put this aside for a sec. You can see I sifted over quite a lot of kind of contaminant and everything in there. So we're gonna fill that back up, and you do this a couple times. I'm not gonna show you. This is pretty straightforward. You just fill it back up. If you want to put another capful of microfiber wash, go right ahead. And then you just keep doing that until the water, it's not gonna get clear, but until it's not so murky and dark colored, and then you're ready to wash. Okay, so next up is the wash cycle. A few things to know for you. Same thing, if you can, do warm. Use warm water in your wash. If not, cold is fine. Don't use hot. You do not want to use any type of fabric softener whatsoever. None. You ruin the ability for the microfibers to actually grab and pick up stuff. That's kind of their point of it. So if you use fabric softener, it makes it soft, ruins the cloth. It's good for just a gentle wipe, no longer good as a microfiber cloth. Secondly, it's okay to use detergent if you want, but make sure it's a bleach-free detergent. Make sure it's nothing that has additives. For example, like Tide Pods, like this. Bad idea because they have fabric softener and additional stuff inside. These are not a good idea for putting in there in the wash. Honestly, all I put in there is I put the cloths, I put another few capfuls of the microfiber wash, and let it do its cycle. Okay, so you can see here now I have my pre-soaked microfiber cloths. They're looking a lot better than they did initially. This actually is the one that I did the pre-soak on, and you can see got a lot of that white dust. And again, it wasn't like dirt, anything that would damage anything, but it got a lot out. Got a little piece of yellow microfiber there, but it got a good majority of out. So we're gonna go and start throwing these in, just like that. Now, depending on your washing machine, this step may or may not be necessary. So you saw my washing machine just now. For example, my old washing machine, I used to be able to put the water and allow it to pre-fill the basin. And then I would just throw my microfibers in, throw my microfiber wash in, and start up, and away you go. This one here doesn't allow you to pre-fill. You actually have to turn it on and activate it, and then it'll start filling the water in. So in that case here, what I normally do is I'll fill up the bucket, the same bucket I use, with about, you know, some water, about half full, something like that, not too much, and then I'll put back in some more wash. And this is important because if you just pour the wash in, let's say again you have that washing machine like what I have, which I think a lot of the modern ones are like that now. Then as you put in your microfiber cleaner, it just kind of goes onto the microfiber cloths and doesn't really absorb in as it should. So you know, this here will allow me to actually kind of distribute it a lot better. So again, just a few capfuls. I'm gonna put 4 again. Okay, close that back up. Just give it a little whisk. We're gonna have to mix it. It's gonna dilute on its own, and then we're just gonna pour into the washing machine. So you can see all the rags in there now. Very small load, not very much at all. Okay, and we're just gonna go and grab that mixture I just kind of did, just warm water and the cleaner. We're gonna pour it in, distribute it as best as possible. All right. Close it up. Start my wash cycle. We'll be back when it's time for drying. Okay, as you can see there, we now have a set of nice clean microfiber cloths. Of course, some of them are stained. Stains you're not going to get out, but they are now clean. You can even smell in here. It does have a fresher smell. That Microfiber Wash from Chemical Guy is pretty good stuff. So now that this is all done, it's washed through, it's gone through its cycle, you have a couple options to dry. So the first, which is the one I'm not going to do, is you can actually use a dryer. Now, if you use a dryer, do make sure you're not putting in a fabric sheet. Nothing else. You're not putting any other additives or anything. You're just putting it to dry, and you dry it on cool or preferably just like tumble dry. So, you know, like in this case here, it'd be like fluff air, right? So it's just the cool down dry. You're not actually, these cloths dry pretty quickly, so you don't need to use any even like high heat or anything. Preferably not low heat. If you want to, can just for a little bit. Like for example, if I was doing this one here, I put it just over here and let it run for a few minutes. Or again, you can do like a tumble dry or something. But I prefer to use just regular clothesline. As you can see, I'm just going to use some clotheslines that I have here. I mean, these are obviously were not installed just for the purpose of microfibers. I do use this for regular laundry and stuff too, but it does serve this purpose very well. So for example, something like a microfiber cloth, just take the cloth out and I just put it right over. Make sure it's spaced out well. Make sure it's so it could just breathe and get a chance to dry. I find this is the best way, honestly, completely the best way to do it. You know, put a few cloths over. Now, at the same time, if you get something, let me see if I can find it in here. For example, we get a applicator. I'll take my applicator and I'll take a clothespin and just put it through like that. And actually, I'm not sure if you're getting it there. Sorry, the camera's over there. I can't tell, so I'll put it over here for the sake of the video. And just hold it like that. And then I line everything off and leave it just overnight. By the time I get up in the morning, everything's completely dry and these are fresh and ready to go. Actually, if you feel them, depending on how soiled they were or if any damage was done to the actual fibers themselves, you may actually feel them feeling fresh and new, like they're ready to grab again. So just by doing this here, you'll see the world of difference it'll make in just air drying them. And there you have it, everything all hung out, ready to dry. And by the time I come back to these tomorrow, they will be all set and ready to go. Okay, and the last thing now before we close off here is just something to kind of give an example when everything's done. So these cloths have all been dried now. And, you know, to give an example of what I would do from here, I'd inspect all cloths before I put them back into my kind of microfiber piles and stuff like that. You know, I have my different piles for different jobs. So something like this, for example, you look at, still got a slight, so slight tinge to it when you smell it. You can smell very slight chemical, although it's cleaned up. You probably could run it through again if you want, but something like this instead. Now, as I told you before, when I use these cloths, engine work, exterior, interior, mechanical stuff. I even use it for around the house, so cleaning windows in the house, or even cleaning my cell phone, or even this camera here that I actually use to record with. I use them for cleaning, so know what you're going to use them next. So going back to it now, something like this, I would probably look over and say, you know what, I'm not going to use this, definitely won't use this for interior work, and I won't use this for exterior work. I won't use this for waxing and stuff like that. It's got a good feel to it, feels smooth, but it is getting kind of worn. So something like this, I'd probably relegate now to doing engine work. Now, on the flip side to that, a cloth like this, I would look it over. First thing I would do is I'd kind of run it through my hand. I always run the cloth through, because sometimes, although you see this one looks very clean, you know, you may run it through and feel like something was captured there. Maybe a little piece of wood or dirt or fingernails or whatever, depending on whose car you're cleaning or what's going on with them, right? So you run it through and feel like nothing hard inside. This one feels nice and smooth. It came out really nice and clean. So something like this, I would relegate to more delicate jobs
waxes, interior work, cleaning my devices, this would still take on some of the more delicate. You can feel the microfibers, the fibers still feel very, very good. They're very grabby, still grab onto my skin and stuff. So this is still very good. This one here, on the other hand, again, I'd use for more grimier work. And as I had mentioned earlier, once I finish with stuff that I use on the engine, I don't even wash it. It goes in the garbage. So this one will probably have one more cycle through. And then after that, it'll go in the garbage. So, or hey, it's up to you if you want to run it through a couple cycles, or if you want to get like a nylon brush and put some cleaner in and clean it out. I mean, you can do that. I don't bother with that. So I use it until, like, I'll use it to soak up oils. I'll use it out until it's dead, and then it's gone. So hopefully with this video here, it'll help you guys with keeping your microfiber cloths clean, maintain, show you how to do it at home. So, you know, it's very easy for anyone to do, and you can get a lot of life out of them, a lot of washes, and a lot of longevity. So hope this video helps you out.
Now the YouTube stuff. I always love a great feedback, so make sure right off the bat to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Now, if you like something on the channel, definitely like it. Give it that thumbs up. If you disliked it, thumbs down for sure. But let me know why. That's what the comment section are for. And whatever it is, if you like something, then I know it's working. And if you dislike something, then I know something didn't. But let me know why, so I can continue to build a channel and make it better for me and for you. Aside from that, commenting is great too. So if there's something you can do better, something you can do different, any tips for other viewers, I'm all about that too. So make sure to put that in there. If you have a question about something that's maybe not even related directly to the video, leave that for me as well. Other than that, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next video.